In the heart of the forest, legends awaken from the shadows. The tales of Sasquatch echo through time, a mystery that remains unsolved.
As the smoke clears, the sign stands resolute, a beacon of intrigue. What secrets lie within the forest's depths? The quest for truth begins at Sasquatch Watch Radio. Here's Billy Willard and Gary Kendrick.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is Monday, February 10th, 2025, and I want to apologize ahead of time. Our guest, Tommy Ray, tonight is not doing well. He's having some issues with his breathing. So we want to ask everybody to please be thinking about him, say a prayer for him, and hopefully he'll get back on the mend. Could be serious, so we just wish the best for him. So before we get started tonight with our alternative subject, let's bring our other host in here, Gary Kendrick. How you doing, Gary?
Hey, Billy. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hopefully everybody's good, and I know the flu is going around pretty rampant right now, so I'm hoping everybody's doing well.
Yeah, it's been tough back here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of people. I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about flu, RSV, bronchitis, pneumonia. A lot of people sick. So
been rough. And then too, on top of that, we've had 60-some degree days, and now everything's dropping back off. It's 30-some degrees, 20-some degrees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we're supposed to get, I think, 1 to 3 inches of snow sometime tonight and into tomorrow. So,
yeah, ain't that just wonderful?
Yeah, boy. I just got everything thawed back out.
Well, the funny thing is, we're supposed to get, I think, an inch an hour starting at 11 in the morning up here. So they're saying a total of around 6 inches tomorrow, and then an additional possible 6 inches the following day. So we're looking at about a foot. But the funny thing is Thursday, it's supposed to be close to 60 degrees. So,
yeah.
That's we'll have more flooding, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's okay. We'll get through it, I guess.
Endeavor here.
So everybody, there is a slight change of plans since our guest is not feeling well. Me and Gary had been talking about it for, the last few weeks. We probably all remember the recent stories about the two guys, the two Bigfoot researchers that had went out and, unfortunately probably wasn't really prepared.
Yeah.
And of course they lost their lives. So we figured it'd be a good opportunity to maybe talk about a little bit of safety, a little bit of hiking safety, camping safety, researching. It's one thing to be going out, and hiking a loop trail, like a 1 mile or a 2 mile loop trail where you're familiar with your area and things like that. That's one thing. But when you get out on these trails and you start going off trail and you're planning on hiking several miles, you best be prepared because you just never know what's going to happen. So,
nope.
So we put together some stuff that we can talk about tonight. And one thing I'd like to mention, everybody that's listening, if you can get in the chat room, we want to hear your comments too, because you may have some good suggestions as well. And so if you're not in there, please log into the chat room, put your questions in here, your comments in here. Because here, let me show you this. This is funny. I've been doing a bunch of stuff over the weekend, Gary, making these new little videos and all these different things, right? So what I've done is, I guess I should let everybody know. So we've decided the last 15 minutes of the show is your show. In other words, the chat room for the last 15 minutes, we want you guys to bombard our guests with questions. So the last 15 minutes of the show, this is what you're going to see when it's time to do that. that's what we're going.
I like that.
That's what we'll open. Hey, AI is amazing. That's all I can tell you. So when you see that, it's time for you. But tonight's a little different. Tonight, it's wide open because it's kind of like an open show tonight, as we're discussing safety. So just wanted to keep everybody informed on that. So Gary, do you want to start, or you want me to start, or how do you want to do that?
I mean, you can start if you want to, Billy. I'm good with that. Then I can just chime in or whatever.
All right. So I've done a lot of research about this. There's a lot of things that you should do before you go into the woods. Okay. And again, we're talking about you're planning on spending a few hours out there. You're planning on tracking a few miles. Anything can happen. So one thing, look, so I'm 55 years old. I can't do what I was doing 10 years ago. So I have to make sure that I'm going to, be able to do this. So one of the first steps when you're planning what you're doing is choose a trail that's appropriate for your skill level. Look, I'm not climbing no rock cliffs, or going down no rock cliffs. I can't do that anymore, and I'm not trying to do that anymore. So, research these trails. A lot of times, especially like the Appalachian Trail or some of these trails in national forests or whatever, a lot of times you can research that stuff, and it'll tell you, if it's a beginner type trail, if it's a moderate trail, and you can really find out. But if you're like us, you don't like to stay on the trail, because of what we're doing, we're researching, and we know that Bigfoot's not using no main hiking trails. We know that. So we do a lot of off trail stuff that you just have to be careful with. And another thing it says is, because you can't always rely on cell phone coverage, download the maps on your phone. If you can't get a paper map or something like that, make sure you download it so that you can use it offline, because you're not always going to have cell service when you're back in the woods. So another important thing is, if you're planning on going out, tell somebody where you're going. Even a general idea, say, hey, yeah, I'm going up here to the Whitewater Canyon Trail off of the Skyline Drive. That way, if they don't hear from you or whatever, they know where to tell people you were going, so that somebody can search for you. So tell a friend, tell a family member, just make sure someone knows, and even tell them, say, look, if you don't hear from me by 5 o'clock this evening, send out the search party.
That's right.
Because you do not want to get stuck out there when it gets down into single digits and raining or snowing or whatever. That's the last place you want to be. Another thing is, check your gear. If you're planning on being out there for a while, it's probably a good idea to have just a few simple items, little small first aid kit, water, snacks, a headlamp or a flashlight, a whistle, a map, a compass, a rain jacket. And one thing I learned years ago, wear sturdy hiking boots. I can't tell you how easy it is to step on a limb, step on a rock, and twist your ankle. Mm-hmm. If you have some good sturdy hiking boots, they can go a long way. And it's nice too if they're, if you got like the moisture wicking type clothing, to keep you dry. If you got, usually if you're in the woods, you don't have too big of an issue, but if there's a lot of open areas in the woods, sunscreen's important especially in the spring and summer. So you just want to make sure. And here, I want to show y'all this little thing right here. Read that real closely. Your cell phone is not a light source. It is not a map. It is not a survival kit. And it's not always going to have reception. That's straight from the National Park Service. And I mean, that's just great common sense, really, because you cannot rely on these cell phones. Believe me, I can go up here and 1 minute I have full signal and I can walk 100 feet and I ain't got nothing. Mm-hmm. So it can happen quick. All right. I'll stop for now and I'll let Gary take over for a little bit.
On some of the things that Billy was talking about, this is the 21st century, okay? Almost all of your national parks and recreational trails and things like that are very well mapped. My advice is if you are planning on doing even just a day hike, look at the map, plan your route. Now, if you're doing things like we do, where you actually, like Billy says, go off trail and things like that, study that map before you go. Look at that map. Before you go out and spend 2 or 3 days in the field doing something, make short trips up there. Look around, see what the terrain's like, see what things might be, see what the weather does. And then if you are planning an extended trip, your main first line of defense is your clothing. One of the most important things about your clothing is that it covers the biggest organ on your body, which is your skin. Okay. Waterproof, water resistant. I prefer a lot of wool stuff. I like wool socks and things like that because they retain heat even when they get wet. I think wool retains 90% of its thermal quality when it's wet, whereas a cotton, like blue jeans, only retains about 10%. If something was to happen and you do get wet, the main thing to do is dry off. Now, whether that's sitting down, building a small fire, whatever, dry yourself off. Get something warm in you. Boil you some water, fix you some tea, fix you something. Warm your body up. If nothing else, just drink warm water. Don't let your core temperature drop. Try to stay warm. That's the main thing. That's what's going to keep you alive. And the other thing, like I said, is your gear. If you're planning on doing just a day trip, I'm just going to go walk this 1 mile loop, 2 mile loop, whatever. There's still things that you need. Small first aid kit, Band-Aids, first aid ointment, and hand sanitizer, whatever. You never know. You may get blisters. And blisters can be serious. Carry some water with you. I see a lot of these guys, we go to Gatlinburg and things like that. And I've been guilty of doing it myself. But we'll do this 1.5 mile loop walk through the mountains and there's no water. Take some water with you because you don't know what's going to happen. And one of the biggest things is appropriate footwear. Okay. You're not going to do a 1.5 mile hike wearing flip-flops. Okay. I'm a flip-flop kind of guy. I like being barefooted. But if you're going to do an extended walk like that, wear appropriate footwear. Whether it be boots or whether it be hiking shoes or whatever, appropriate footwear is a big thing. It's going to save you in the long run. And, take some time, talk with the people that you're with. Hey, I'm going to go do this loop right here. This is the loop. This is what time I'm leaving. It should take me this long to do it. I should be back by this time. And the same thing with a bigger trip. I would even go as far as to, get grid coordinates. You can get exact grid coordinates on your phone anymore, and it's not that hard to do. And leave them with somebody at home or whatever. That way they know exactly where you started at. As far as the guys that passed away squatching, they fell victim to the weather. They weren't prepared for the weather. Yeah. And that's the big thing. If you're doing something like Sasquatching or hunting or anything like that, check the weather. I've got 2 or 3 different weather apps that I check to try to see, what I'm looking for, what might be happening, what time things might be happening, what the percentage of precipitation is, what type of precipitation it's going to be, and plan your trip appropriately. If me and Billy decide that we're going to go up to, I'll just use a place here where I live at, Birch Knob, and it's about a 3-mile drive up to the top of the knob, which borders Kentucky. And if they're calling for 3 inches of snow, I'm not going up there. Okay, we'll wait till the weather's better. Because if you go up there and you get 3 inches of snow, it's 3 inches of snow at the foot of the mountain. It's not 3 inches of snow at the top of the mountain. For every 1,000 feet of elevation that you gain, technically you lose 3 degrees in temperature. So if it's 70 degrees down here, it's 60-some degrees up there. So keep that in mind. For every 1,000 feet, you lose 3 degrees. Bronze Age John says he likes squatching the strip in Gatlinburg. I listened to a real good Sasquatch report from up at Klingman's Dome in Gatlinburg. And these guys were up there looking for 2 hikers. And it fell out, I think, about 2 feet of snow on them up there. And they had an encounter when they were staying in a survival cabin up there, one of the rangers' cabins. Depending upon where you're at, depends on what type of gear that you need. I'm a former Marine. I was in the United States Marine Corps, and we were taught survival and readiness. And part of that is having a plan. Know where you're going, know what the weather's going to be, know what you have to take, know how long you're going to be there, and what steps to take if something goes wrong. And in the something goes wrong category, one of the biggest things that happen to a lot of people that get lost in the woods, have problems in the woods or things like that, is like, I built a fire, but I lost my lighter. Now I can't build another fire. If you only have one way of starting a fire or one way of mapping where you're going, you might as well not have any. 2 is 1, 1 is 0. So like when I go somewhere, I carry at least 3 different items to start a fire. I have conventional butane lighters. I have a ferro rod so I can spark fire, and carry tinder and things with you. Some cotton balls soaked in, Lord, I just went completely blank. Vaseline. Man, that'll catch fire quick and it will burn. And a lot of people don't realize this either. But a crayon will burn for up to 30 minutes if you stand it up like a candle.
Yep.
And that's a crayon. So, there's lots of things that you can do. But the biggest thing that kills people in the woods is not starvation. It is lack of water and temperature. Overheating or underheating, losing your body temperature through evaporation. You've been out hiking all day, you're wet. One of the things that Les Stroud always says, if you sweat, you die. If it's cold and you sweat while you're going up in there, odds are you're going to be really cold because now your body is soaked, all your clothes are soaked. Wear layers, that way you can strip down as you start to heat up, and you can layer back up as you start to cool down. Food is an essential thing, but it's not as important as water. You can live for like 21 days without eating anything. Now, I'm not saying somebody go out and, don't eat anything for 21 days. Nutrition is important, but it's not as important as hydration. You can live for 21 days without food. You can only live for about 3 days without water. Everybody always says, oh, your body is 75% water. Yeah, it is. And you need to replenish that ever so often. And as far as, people say, oh, well, you can drink straight out of the creek. I'm going to advise against that. Okay. For a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things out there that could, Giardia is one of the big ones. It's a feces-based parasite. that's in water, and not every animal in the woods is clean, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
You may be drinking out of this nice, clear, crystal clear little old stream right here, but a half a mile up the road, there may be a 600-pound black bear dropping a noose.
Jason said plenty of places eating Gallenberg.
Well, that ain't no lie. That ain't no lie. But, you know, like I said, that's an important thing, hydration. Carry water with you. And, you know, I stressed earlier, drinking something warm, fix you a tea or coffee or something like that. But don't overindulge in that, because caffeine can cause you to dehydrate. You know, if you drink a lot of coffee or whatever, it's going to cause you to dehydrate. Same thing with sodas and things like that. If you're going to be out hiking or something like that, sodas are not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like I said, gear. I was showing Billy earlier. I've got a couple different bags. They stay with me. That's a huge first aid kit on the front of that. That stays in my truck a lot. And this is almost always in my truck. This hangs on the back seat. I have a first aid kit here. I have these little boxes that I carry different things in. This actually comes off and makes a small fanny pack. So if I'm going to leave the truck and go do something, I can take this off and put it on and carry it with me. But, you know, things like that. You can pick up a lot of this stuff pretty cheap. My wife got this from Temu, and as you can see, it even has I don't even know what kind of writing that is on it. But this is one of the little multi-fuel stoves. It's foldable. Has a long cord on it. I can boil water, like a liter of water, in about 90 seconds with this. And the fuel, you can pick these up at Walmart. That's about, I think this one's a 23 ounce. If all I'm doing is just cooking and heating water on this will last me a long time. Long time. And like I said, you know, carrying one thing is like carrying nothing, because something can happen to it. It can break down. That's why it's always important to carry some way of creating a fire. Whether it's matches, whether it's a ferro rod, flint steel, magnesium stick, something like that. Because if you do go off trail and get lost, one of the easiest ways for somebody to find you is going to be smoke and light. That's going to be two of the things that they look for. Yeah. A knife is a really important thing to carry. I'm kind of an old country boy. I carry a knife in my pocket almost all the time. And then I have a couple of knives that go with my bag. One of them is a Marine Corps issued K-bar. It's a high quality steel knife. It's a utility knife. You can do just about anything you want to with it. They're tough. Yep. And I suggest too, if you're going to carry a knife, make sure you carry a sharp knife. If you get up in the woods and, you know, hey, I've got this knife, I just bought it, you know, and you pull it out of your pocket and you can't drive that thing into a stick of hot butter, you know, you're in trouble. Make sure your equipment is ready to be used. And that's any kind of stuff. And like I said, you know, even on just a simple day hike, it probably wouldn't hurt to carry some extra socks in case your feet get wet. I'll just tell you from experience, wet feet can cause a lot of problems. When I was in Marine Corps basic training, we did a thing called Basic Warrior Training, BWT. And we were in the field for about 2 weeks. And being in South Carolina, it rained on us almost every day for 2 weeks. So my feet got wet and they stayed wet. And I changed my socks like I was supposed to and everything else. But the problem was I still developed immersion foot, which is a fungal bacteria that grows on your feet. My feet actually split.
Yep.
Now, I never told the corpsman or nothing about it because I wanted off that island for a little while. I was more than willing to graduate with sore feet. But, yeah, you know, a change of socks, things like that is important. And it's not just comfort. There's a lot of things, you know, that you can say, oh, well, that's just for comfort. It doesn't really do anything. If you sit directly on the ground, you're going to lose core body temperature through radiation. The ground will pull the heat out of your body. The human body is an amazing thing. It's a heater. And it wants to heat everything around it to 98.6 degrees. And you will lose heat by just sitting on the ground. What I try to do is if I'm hunting or if I'm out squatching or something like that and I need to sit down, I look for some type of pine tree. One of the trees that I prefer is a hemlock. Spruce works good for a lot of our guys up in Canada. Any type of pine, any type of evergreen. And you can cut that, and it doesn't take very many limbs to lay down on the ground, and you can sit down on it, and it insulates you so you are not losing heat to the ground. And the same thing, too, if you get into an emergency situation and you're going to have to spend a night in the woods. Cut as much of that stuff as you can cut and carry and pack in and make you about a 6-inch bed of pine boughs. And it will keep you warmer than just laying straight on the ground. And I kind of hate to use TV references, but if anybody's been watching Expedition Bigfoot, the nest that they found is a perfect example of a survival bed. I mean, a perfect example.
Yeah, here's one of the things they got. Here's one of the things they got on the National Park Service about, you know, emergency shelter, tent, space blankets, tarps, you know, anything that gets you off the ground.
I actually carry in my emergency bag. It's a space blanket tent.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's blaze orange on the outside.
Yep.
So that helps you to be identified.
Yep. Just like the one they're showing here in this illustration.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, JC, he looks like Bigfoot actually. So
he kind of looks like a slimmer Bigfoot right now, I think.
Yeah, he has, but he's still got that height to him though.
Well, he's a tall dude.
Yeah, he is. All right, so we're gonna take us a quick break here, like we usually do at the halfway point of the hour. And since the guests are us, we're gonna play a Sasquatch Watch radio tune. So we're gonna take a break for our little tune. Here's our little intro video before we play it. If I can find it. Here we go.
On a dusty back road till the night go wrong, Billy and Gary calling the forest their home. In the twilight hours, they turn on the show. Sasquatch Watch Radio, where legends grow. Billy's got his map, Gary's keeping track. Those stories and whispers of a creature's track. Scratchy voices on the airwaves, listeners lean in close for the tale of Bigfoot coast to coast. Who under the pale moon's glow, they're searching high, they're searching low. Sasquatch Watch Radio, tell us what you know. Is he out there where wild tales grow? Boots hit the trail as the signal fades. Echoes of howls in the midnight shade. Flashlights flicker, hearts begin to race. Billy and Gary chase shadows in the twilight's grace. Calls on the mountainside east to share, deep in the mountains to the swamp's lair. Every legend told, every story sold, keeps a mystery alive as the nights unfold. Who under the pale moon's glow, mountains to the swamp's lair. Every legend told, every story sold, keeps the mystery alive as the nights unfold. Ooh, under the pale moon's glow, they're searching high, they're searching low. Sasquatch Watch Radio, tell us what you know. Is he out there where wild tales grow?
All right, I want to take this opportunity to thank Brad Paisley for singing that song for us. No, I'm just kidding.
It sounded like Brad Paisley. A whole lot.
I better be careful now. I'm going to get a copyright infringement.
Again, yeah. Wait.
Oh, yeah. So we have fun here.
I'm trying to anyway.
All right, let me see. You see something here real quick. See, because I know there was a whole bunch of other stuff I saw on here. Goodness sakes, I just messed my screen up. What did I do? Okay. All right, so we've talked about most of the stuff. We've talked about food. We've talked about first aid. We've talked about maps. We've talked about staying dry, having good boots. Here's one that I find funny, and this is the one where we all mess up, I guess. Avoid shortcuts and unmarked paths. I'm sorry, guys. That's just what we do. You know, it's what we do. We just have to be aware of where we're at and our surroundings. You know, it says pay attention to trail markers. You know, it's just not going to happen because of what we do. I do like here where it says to pace yourself. That's actually really important because you can get going and lose track, you know, or you hear something or you see something at a distance, you speed your pace up. You know, it recommends take frequent breaks to rest and hydrate. You know, don't push yourself too hard, especially in hot weather. That's a big one. You know, hot weather can take you out of here quick. Be aware of your surroundings. Watch for wildlife and potential hazards like cliffs or slippery rocks. Okay. Hate to bring it up again, but watching Expedition Bigfoot. And there was a scene there where he had walked up and it was thick and he was right on the edge of a cliff. I mean, it was so thick you couldn't see the cliff. Same thing happens in Ohio, up at Salt Fork State Park at Hosak's Cave. If you go up and around and you're up at the top of that cave cliff, as you're walking down that creek, number one, all them rocks are mossy and slick. You know, that's why so many people have fell off of there and died. But you can come up on that thing. You can't really see it. It's almost like a camouflage because as you're walking, you see all the woods, everything's green. So it doesn't look like there's a cliff there. You can just keep walking and fall right off the edge of it. So you got to pay attention to where you're going. Gary had mentioned weather conditions. It's always good to check all that. You know, if you know it's calling for 2 inches of rain, don't be going out there. You know, if it's calling for some severe weather, just change the date, go out there another time. You know, it says seek shelter or turn back. And that's a really good idea. Here's another one. So you get back in there, something happens to your technology, you know, GPSs don't work all the time. You know, your map got wet and now you can't read it, you know, whatever. If you get lost, stay calm. Don't freak out. Don't panic because panic just worsens the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually says it's a good idea to stay put, you know, because you might walk in there deeper and get deeper in and no one can find you. If you're on a trail, you best to stay right there. Stay near the trail, it says, or a prominent landmark. Conserve energy and do what Gary said and stay dry.
Mm-hmm.
You get wet.
Ego is one of your biggest killers.
Oh,
if you get out there and you think, and I'll just use me as a prime example. In my mind, I am a 20-year-old United States Marine, and my body will scream otherwise. A lot of you guys may be jealous, but on my way in here to do this show, I rolled a joint, and at 55, it was my ankle. So you can get in big trouble thinking that you're macho man.
That's for sure. And that's the importance of the whistle, because if they are looking for you and you have that whistle, you can blow that thing, every 5 minutes, whatever, and somebody will good possibility could hear it. Whistle goes a long way. So, it even mentions a mirror, reflect, mirror, bright colored clothing, kind of like that tent, blaze orange. It's not a bad idea to have something on. And then, of course, if you have a cell phone, you can try to make an emergency call. Some phones actually have the ability to connect to satellite when you dial 911. And if you have a clear enough spot, you may be able to get a signal with a satellite to make a 911 call. I know that here recently I've seen advertisements that T-Mobile now will connect to Elon Musk's satellites to do texting. So you can text supposedly from anywhere on the planet. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if they're going to offer that to others other than T-Mobile, but hey.
You got to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. And that's pretty much everything it talks about here. I know the National Park Service has a lot of other information. And again, it's all good information, guys. They even have a video. They have a video about the 10 essentials to take with you when you're out there. It's a great website. I mean, it's got a lot of good information in it. What to bring, additional equipment, if you're doing overnight hikes. It's a lot of good information in here. Hiking smart. So
one thing I'd just like to throw out there too, Billy, is like I said, ego is a big killer. You're not Daniel Boone.
Yeah.
Okay. If you've never been in the woods, Bronze Age John here, he cracks me up. He had Billy and Gary to watch over me. I was the social butterfly. That's if you can take a buddy with you, that's awesome. Because if something was to happen and somebody gets hurt, it's a whole lot easier to take care of somebody else than it is for you to be out there by yourself with a broke leg, broke ankle, broke arm, and try to take care of yourself and get out of there.
Yep. Have you seen Mick yet?
No, I haven't seen Mick. I'm a little disappointed.
I know. He's missing out.
I wore Mick's t-shirt tonight.
Yeah.
Where the meatloaf.
See, he missed out.
Something too, Billy, that I was just thinking about was, when you're in the woods and you are doing things like we all do, if you're out exploring and you might be looking for Bigfoot or you might be scouting a hunting spot or whatever, it's good to carry some protection with you. Yeah. Now, whether that be, some type of firearm or bear spray, I'm a big proponent of bear spray. If you don't like to carry a firearm, you're not proficient with a firearm, you're unfamiliar with a firearm, bear spray. Point and squeeze the trigger. There are worse things in the woods than Bigfoot.
Yep.
Okay, if you get between a sow bear and a pair of cubs, you're in trouble. And there's not a lot that's going to turn that bear, but that can of bear spray will.
Yep.
And it kind of pays to use a little bit of common sense too. A lot of guys go camping and they will keep food and things like that in their tent. Okay, essentially all you've done is you've got all that food in one place and you've just made a giant bear burrito.
Yep.
Because he's coming in there after it, and if you're in there, you're part of the smorgasbord.
Yep.
Once you step outside your front door, you drop dramatically on the food chain. And I don't care where you're at, whether you're in the woods, at the beach, whatever, in the desert, you drop dramatically on the food chain. And that's another important thing to know, is know what is dangerous in the areas that you're going to. Is there a black bear population? Is there a mountain lion population? And people don't realize this either, but, predators are not the only thing that can be dangerous. People get mauled every year in Yellowstone because they're trying to take a selfie with a buffalo, or they're trying to pet a buffalo. Okay. A moose. Okay. Listen, we all grew up watching, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Okay. Bullwinkle will tear your hind end up.
That's for sure.
He'll stomp your guts plummet. I mean, you have to, and it's hard for people that, don't. I'm going to I may get some hate over this, but, people that are urban, they're in the cities, they don't know these things. And that's, if you're going out to do something like that, used to be a big thing. People say, hey, let's go squatching. Let's go squatching. Yeah, let's think about that for a minute. If you're going to go somewhere like that, don't do it on a whim. Yeah, digger dog, buffalo, the most attacked in Yellowstone. Yeah. If you're going to go somewhere, you need to know the terrain. You need to know what's out there. And I mean, we're all out, we're listening to a Sasquatch show. And most of us are going to be out in the woods looking for Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I'm kind of lucky. I have a military background. I worked at a prison. I'm a hunter. So I'm, I go pretty well prepared wherever I go. If I'm just going to the VA hospital, which is just about 2 hours down the road, 2.5, I carry things with me just in case something was to happen, weather happens, vehicle breaks down, whatever. You need to have things with you.
Yeah.
And, you'll have people that will leave, from like New York and drive to Pennsylvania or Ohio or somewhere like that. They'll drive out to the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, or they may drive out to Eric's conference out in Pennsylvania and get out there and, like I said, ego will get you. You think you're ready, and you may not be.
Yep.
Training is important, and there's all kinds of online courses that you can take that you can learn a lot of things. Wild edibles. It used to be a big thing with Billy and them whenever we was on expeditions. They said you could browse through the woods with Gary. I look for a lot of wild edibles, and I eat a lot of wild edibles, and you would be surprised what's out there that you can eat. But then again, too, you need to know what you cannot eat. And there's certain things out there that you cannot eat.
Yep.
So, learn like mushrooms. Okay. There's a lot of people back here that do a lot of mushroom hunting. I do not like mushrooms. I do not mushroom hunt. But I know of at least, 1 or 2 kinds of mushrooms that you could eat if you absolutely had to.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. When it comes down to eating that, it's better than dirt.
Yeah. Or bugs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm in the camp that if I can catch bugs, I'm pretty sure I can catch some fish with them. So I think I'm good. I'm not a big bug eater.
I look at that nice ideal campsite. Man,
oh yeah.
Looks like they put some mulch down below their tents. Man, they got it going. They got it going on there.
I read a pretty good article.
Apparently in the Rocky Mountains.
I read a pretty good article the other day where they was talking about insulating your tent.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about, and this is one of Billy's things that he learned the hard way, you do not put your tent directly on snow.
Absolutely not.
You got to dig that baby out a little bit.
Absolutely. The problem was that snow was, I think when we went in there, that snow was a good 2 feet deep. And I don't know. I was afraid we'd have had a flood in the tent. That stuff was packed down there, boy.
It can get rough. I've camped in pretty rough situations.
Of course, Tom, you get another foot of snow and he's ready to tromp through 3 feet of snow up onto the highest peak in the mountain that he can find. I'm like, good God, Tom, let's just stop right here. That's enough.
Yeah, but you got to figure 3 feet of snow is only up to about Tom's ankles anyway. That dude is tall.
Well, yeah, I know.
He's freakishly tall.
And he only carries, like 200 pounds in his backpack.
Oh, yeah. Dolly Sides, that was actually a pretty good trip.
That was a trip.
That was a pretty good trip. I remember that real well, John.
Here, let me see
another
if I can
thing,
find.
too, as far as expedition and things like that going in your survival while you're on expedition, and it can't be said enough, is, your equipment will make you or break you. And not only will your equipment make you or break you, but your familiarity with your equipment. Okay, I'll kind of give an example. We was on an expedition one time, and one of the guys that we was with had a 4-season tent, brand new 4-season tent. And he pitched that tent, and he didn't stake it down. And he was pretty close to a creek, and a big wind come through, and sitting around the fire. And I looked over and I said, "Hey, where's your tent at?" He's like, "It's over there." And I was like, "Dude, no, it's not." We got up and we went looking for it. It was in the creek. So we fished his tent back out of the creek and got as much water out of it as we could. And the next morning when he got out of bed, because it was cold that night, I think it was March, I believe. And he got out of that tent and there was icicles. I think it's about that long inside of his tent. I said, "How'd that 4-season tent do?" He said, "Not too good." I will stake that baby down.
Yeah, that's the kind of view. We were right there where that picture is. The campground was kind of across the road, the gravel road from that spot right there.
Mm-hmm.
Where you could just see all the mountains and the valleys up there. It was just amazing.
And it's weird because it doesn't even look like it belongs in the U.S. It looks more like Eastern Europe. I mean, it really does. It's spruce forests. There was reindeer moss.
Yep.
Cranberry bogs.
Let's see if I can find. See if I can find. Kind of give everybody an idea. That map don't show nothing. It's kind of it sort of shows where it's at on the map. This road doesn't even have a name. And it's closed. Like right now, it's closed because you can't get up there during the winter at all.
Yeah.
So they got a gate, and I can't remember. I think it's about right in here where my little cursor. Well, I don't know if you can see my cursor actually, but it's right past where it says Ronald Pearson Bridge. There's a gate there. They keep it closed.
Or that dirt road going up there. They say it's gravel, but I think 3 gravels and 4 miles is not sufficient enough to call it a gravel road.
Yeah.
It was rough.
There we go. There's some pictures of the place called Moon Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
That was a beautiful place up there.
Oh yeah. All kinds of pictures. I mean, we saw a lot of this stuff. We were out there. Pretty cool. It's just a cool area.
I remember there was a big cranberry bog out there, and it was wild cranberry.
Yeah, I'm trying
to remember. There was like a boardwalk that went right through the middle of that bog, and there was like a little round, like deck out there, and we sat out there one night.
Let me see if I can find that because it is pretty cool. I think it's. Let me just look up cranberry bog. Dolly Sides. See if we can find it. Yeah, we're just having fun now, guys. Again, if you guys have any comments or whatever, just let us know. Oh, there we go. There's one right here. Hold on. See if I can open it. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's the kind of thing you can find up there, which is just crazy.
Yeah, you can see the spruce trees and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Gosh, and that wind. Holy cow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Man,
You're up there.
the mountain. And I mean, that wind was absolutely whipping up there.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, there you can see my cursor now.
Yep.
All right, y'all zoom in. I think that's a Bigfoot right there. Just kidding. Put a red circle around it.
Oh, don't do no red circle. They'll talk about you from now on, Jack.
Got to make some jokes.
I circled something one time when I first started Sasquatching with you guys. And I put a circle around something and I asked a question about it. And there was like 10 people all at once. Don't circle anything red.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Please don't do that. Not a good idea.
John brought up a good point. He said he slept in his car. Your car can be a good shelter.
Yeah.
If something must have happened. But the problem with that is you have a limited supply of fuel.
Yep.
And another thing too, if it's snowing pretty hard and things like that, and it's up over your exhaust pipe, and you fire that car up, you could have some carbon monoxide poisoning going.
Yep. Here we go. Here's something handy. Look at this. Guys, there is the trail map up on Dolly Sods. So they got some nice trail maps. As you can see, they're mapped out pretty good. So, having stuff like this is handy.
Oh yeah.
When you're out there. Right there is where we were at. Let me see if my cursor. Right there where it says Red Creek.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we were at, that campground right there. Right there.
Lord God, and I think we walked every inch of that place too.
Oh yeah, we walked all over.
Yeah, we put in some miles.
And as you all can see by this topo map, this is that cliff that you see in the pictures with all the rock outcrops up here. So when you're looking out here, as you can see, this is all valleys. You can stand right up there and just look for miles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was incredible. Digger brought up, said it looks like a great place to put out a recorder. We heard a few things up there. I don't think we had anything definitive.
Yeah.
It was during the day, you wouldn't have any trouble with a recorder.
Right.
At night, when we was up there, the wind was blowing so hard, I don't think you could pick anything up on a recorder.
No, not up the top, not at the top. You'd have to go in somewhere inside where there's plenty of trees and stuff before, I think, and probably down a little bit. I don't think you could record anything right on the top.
No, it was pretty rough. Look up the Google satellite of Bigfoot. Interesting photos. George says, look up the Google satellite of Bigfoot. Interesting photo.
Oh, yeah? Let's see. See if I can find that. Let's see here. See if I can find it.
John brought up a good point, too. He said the loudest scream that he ever recorded was at Allison's. And I'm going to tell you what, when I heard that scream, two things happened. The first one was I was amazed, and the second one was I stuck my hand and got a good grip on stuck my hand down in my pocket, got a good grip on my pistol. That was a dandy.
Yeah, I don't know. It might take me a while to find that, George.
I know there was a video, if that's the same one he's talking about. They were mapping something using a drone.
Mm-hmm.
And actually recorded something run out of the trees, out into the open a little bit, and then back into the trees.
Oh, I think I saw that.
If that's what he's talking about, I don't know if it is or not.
No, I think he's talking. I've seen people post up pictures of stuff they have found on Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what he's talking about, where you can actually zoom in a little bit, and it's like definitely something like standing there.
Yep.
Yeah, here's a valuable lesson right here. Don't ever ask AI to find you a a Google satellite photo of Bigfoot, because here's what it gives you. Thanks, AI. Thank you.
That's a big one. That's a big one. George says Google Earth. George said it was Google Earth.
Yeah, Google Earth. Yeah.
Let's check it out, George. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch. I know some people have posted stuff. The one I saw recently, someone had saw it on Google Earth, but it was on like a rock outcrop, and there was something standing out there, and you could tell it was upright.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting stuff, that's for sure.
Another thing, while I was thinking about it, Billy, if you're planning an expedition that might be, several days long and things like that, that may not be the trip where you want to try to learn to paddle a canoe, or where you want to try to, hey, I haven't been hiking in 20 years. I used to be able to do this. That's not the place to find out that you can't do that anymore.
No. I remember me and Tom made that mistake when we tried to canoe down the Rappahannock River. Let me tell you something. We should have known better, because it was a dry year and we're trying to canoe, and that water was so shallow. I think we did more walking the canoe through the water than we did canoeing.
Yep.
Yeah, that was not fun at all.
And there are a lot of rivers that are dangerous, even right here in the state of Virginia. The James River is extremely dangerous.
New River.
The New River is treacherous. I actually had a boating accident in the New River, and I thought for sure I had lost my best friend.
Oh, yeah.
Once it threw him out of the boat, the New River has a wicked undercurrent.
Absolutely.
And that water looks calm on top, but boy, it will suck you down the river in no time flat.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there are some nice whitewater rafting areas on the New River. So, and that water can get quite rough.
I think we did class. It was, we was actually on a fishing trip, and there was 2 guys per boat, and there was a guy that was supposed to be a professional that was paddling the boat,
mm-hmm.
and he got sideways and clipped a rock.
Yep.
And that's what threw my buddy Travis out of the boat. But I think we did class 3, class 4 rapids.
Yep.
While we was trying to fish.
Yep. There you go. Dolly Sods is the highest plateau east of the Mississippi River, with altitudes ranging from 2,644 feet, and where we were at Red Creek, 4,123 feet.
Wow.
Yep, that's where we were at.
Pretty challenging. That was neat, though. That was a really cool trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really neat.
Yep. Oh, this is funny. Let's see. Yeah, somebody asked this question. Here you go. Is Dolly Sods a hard hike? And it's in bold letters. It is definitely a hard trail. Oh, man. It says it's not one for folks with bad knees, hips, or ankles. And as others have reported, it's longer than the listed distance.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can't remember where we was at. It may have been at the Moon Rock. But there was a warning sign, too, that told you not to step off trail because there was unexploded munitions.
Yeah.
From World War II in that area. So.
No doubt.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was a beautiful, beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Yeah. So for anybody who wants to look it up, George just put up the coordinates. So you can get on Google Earth and put in those coordinates and see a Bigfoot. So.
I'm going to write that down. Because I got to look this up.
Yeah, I don't think I have Google Earth on this computer, but I might be able to get to it on the internet. So hold on a minute. Just for grins and giggles here. Might have some fun here.
Norse.
Try this. I know there's a web version. I don't have the actual app, but I know that there's a web version of Google Earth. So let's see here. There you go. Let everybody watch what I'm doing here. Let's see. Is there a spot where I can put in the coordinates? Search Google Earth, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where's the degree on the keyboard?
Oh, Lord. That's a good question, Billy.
Yeah, it is. They should have a let's try something here. There should be a spot here to put in coordinates. That's place mark. That's a path and polygon measure. Historical image. Could have swore there was a place you could put in coordinates.
It's kind of hard to tell, but I think that's the Horn of Africa right there.
Yeah.
It was.
Guess what? I'm zooming in. I'm zooming into my house, y'all. Here we go. See if it'll do it. It's not cleared up yet. So y'all can't see my house because I live out in the middle of the bush.
You got one of them electronic screens up like North Korea does.
No, that ain't my. What in the world is this thing pointing to? That's not my place. It must not know where I'm at. I don't know what that's a picture of. That's not where I'm at. Must have some other address. See, there's coordinates right here. I wonder if you can go in and change it.
That looks like my house.
Gary,
That's what it does. Well, like right
man.
there would be, down at the bottom, it would be my barn and it pasture. That's where it does.
We done found Gary's place. That's funny. Well, let's see. Actually, no, right there. Right there is my place. It's right there. I'm not sure why it's pointing to that spot, but that's my place right here. This guy back here behind me has a campground. And as you can see, all this is connected. All this is Shenandoah National Park. Mm-hmm. All this stuff out here. So from my house right here, I can go up the road here. I can get on here. You take this road right here to this end right here. And this is the lead-in trail that goes right into Shenandoah National Park.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And I've been walking back into all this stuff. But I mean it's vast. There's a lot there. But like, let's see. Yeah, here we go. But so I've got cameras set up that points back into here, over here, all around. So I can see all the way around the house, but I especially point it back in here because there's areas here. There's a lot of woods out here. Oh, so yeah. I back right up to all that. So
it's just like where I live at. Right behind my house is all U.S. Army Corps of Engineers land.
Yep.
So there's thousands of acres right there, that run along the river.
Right.
And you could probably walk to the river from my house in about 10 minutes. If you don't mind doing some skydiving off some cliff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It gets rough back there. It's pretty rocky. Real cliffy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, but that's one of the things too. You need to know the terrain before you try to go there. And that's something you will not see on a map.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure. All right, guys. Well, I think we've wasted an hour. No, it's not a waste. It's actually all really good information to keep in mind, especially when you're planning on hiking, camping, whatever you're doing. Make sure that you're properly prepared, because we don't need no more stories like that. I didn't know either one of those guys, but I don't want to hear of anybody specifically, especially that I know. I don't want to hear any bad stories like that. So just be careful out there. That's all I can say.
One more thing I just thought of, Billy. Another thing too, take some notes on some places, coordinates, terrain notes, things like that, and keep them with you.
Yeah.
That way, you can remind yourself, hey, I'm looking for this specific place right here.
Right.
That way you have something that you can look on the map and use your compass or whatever and actually navigate to.
Yep. Good point.
And land navigation course, a good online land navigation course would be an excellent addition to anybody's survival skills.
Absolutely. And sometimes you can find that stuff for free. For example, your Bass Pro Shops, your Cabela's, sometimes they have stuff like that, and you can go in there. They don't usually charge for that, and you can learn a lot.
Yep, quite a bit.
Take advantage of that kind of stuff. All right, so before we head out, on a real quick note here, I'm getting ready to show you guys an advertisement. It's a very, very exciting event coming up this year. So I'm going to quickly show you this, and then I'll be right back. That looks like a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah,
right there's the website. So if you get an opportunity to do that, as you can see, it's typically a pretty good size event. Got some really good guest speakers coming out there this year. And they always do some night hikes and stuff like that, so it's always a good time. So,
and I'm just going to hop in there and say Eric puts on an excellent event.
Yep, absolutely. And has for a long time. So
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I remember he used to do the East Coast Bigfoot Conference. That thing went on for years. He used to hold up there in Pennsylvania, and then of course he lost that venue because they closed that place down. So this is kind of what took place of that. So what's good about it is it's interactive. There's like classes that you can take on how to cast tracks and all kinds of different things. So it's always a good time. So if you can make it out there, get on that website, get your tickets and stuff. My understanding is I think they still have a few cabins even available if you don't want to camp out. So always a good time.
Oh yeah.
Well, Gary, do you got anything else?
I just want to say, when you guys are out doing your own Bigfoot, Sasquatch investigations, whatever you want to call it, just make sure that you're prepared and that you're safe.
Yep.
Know where you're going, know what you're doing, and make it back. Make it back home safe. That's the main thing.
That's it. All right. Well, thank everybody for getting on. Let's kind of throw some names out here real quick of our regular listeners. We got Tennessee Cherokee. We had JC in here tonight. We had Digger Dog in here, which is, all these guys are typically here all the time. We had George Garcia in here with us tonight. So we thank all you guys. We know that we had Ricky Phillips was listening in. I just didn't see him in the chat. So we thank you guys, because without you all, we would just be talking to ourselves.
Yeah. So. And generally they'll lock you up for that.
Exactly. So, Private Detective from Minnesota. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Howdy.
Yep. Glad to have you aboard there. And always remember, guys, you can watch any of these shows archived. We've got, I think at last count, there's 200 and some shows that date back to 2008. Mm-hmm. Because when we first started, it was on Blog Talk Radio, which didn't have video. It was just audio. And then this past February, so we've been on a year. I guess we should have had a 1 year celebration, I guess. Didn't even think about that.
I ain't neither.
But yeah, we've been on YouTube now for a year. We're trying to get back all of our old listeners from the Blog Talk days, because I tell you what, we used to blow up some listeners now. We had a lot of listeners when we were on Blog Talk Radio, and a lot of them don't know we're back. So spread the word, guys. Share the, you can go into these podcasts. You can hit the share button, let people know we're back, because the more we got, the merrier. And we're always here for suggestions, guest suggestions. You can type it in there in the comments, and show ideas. If you have ideas of guests, or if you have ideas of subjects for us to talk about, we've been known to pull a couple guys together and have, 5 or 6 people on here at one time, having a roundtable discussion about a subject. So if you have ideas, shoot them our way. We're here to listen. There's Joe. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Now I'm going to throw this out there too. For anybody that's listening to the show, has been listening to the show or whatever, if you have questions about the subject or anything like that, you can find me on Facebook. It's Gary Kendrick at Facebook. Actually, I think I have a picture. My profile picture's me doing some powwow dancing right now.
Yep.
Yep. If you go on there and you got questions, you want to know something, if you want to talk about something, if you've had an encounter or a sighting or anything like that, and you want to talk about it, shoot me a message on Messenger. I don't care one bit.
Yep. Here, I'll see if I can find that real quick, Gary. Hold on. That way they can find you direct. Let's see. Looky here. I just found it. Hold on. I'm going to put it up here. And then everybody will have it. If they want to send you a friend request, let's put it right here. There we go. So, yep, you can send Gary a friend request there.
Questions, comments, photos you want to talk about, whatever.
Yep.
I'm open.
Let me see if I can find mine. I think mine is, yeah, here comes, all right. So that's Gary's. And here's mine. You can send me a friend request as well. So now you got our Facebook profiles. Just don't send us don't clone our account. No, we don't need no nudie pictures or anything like that. Just
no,
we don't need
absolutely
that stuff,
not. Did you get that, JC? No nudie pictures, JC.
I think he logged off, but no, I think he might still be on there. Yeah, you just might have hurt yourself there, Gary. All right, so thank you, everybody. We appreciate each and every one of you. Tune in next Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll have another guest on. I actually had to move because I was going to have Steve Coles on, because guess what? Steve wrote a new book. But I had to move him to March. So I will find another guest for this Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, you guys have a great rest of the week. Y'all be careful in this weather coming up, depending on where you're at.
Yes, sir.
You might be getting some snow. So everybody be careful. And until next Monday night, everybody have a great rest of the week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.